Speaking of not very good starts, how close? I mean, we will talk about the game as well in this segment, but how close do people feel Erik ten Hag is to the sack? Because, I mean, there's just a report that's come out since we've been talking. This comes from the United stand, who do, in 2023, have connections at the club. They know a lot of people. Says a Man United insider has confirmed that Ten Hag looked shot, the same as Ollie did towards the end. It was another embarrassing performance from the team yesterday. Yes, we know City are superior to us, but it was just poor starting lineup, ridiculous decision to take off Amrabat. And then I think to add insult to injury, he does an interview. And if people haven't seen this, brace yourselves. He was asked the question, when will you be able to play the same football with Man United that you showed at Ajax? And his response was never. We will never play that football because those are different players. This is also not why I came here. We are playing different football than I showed at Ajax because I have to, because I can't play the same way. And for me, he went on to say more. Me personally, hearing that, I understand it's a different group of players, so it's never going to be identical. City don't play like Pep's Barcelona team, per se. He's changed and he's evolved. But there is still a basic fundamental. Ten Hag was brought into Man United to bring, we all thought, to bring that style. We've been asking a question now for 18 months, not quite 18 months, 15 months. When are we going to start to see it? But now we have the answer, Staffy. Now we know why we're not seeing any of it, because he is not trying to implement it. So the question remains, not only should he be sacked soon, the question is, what is the point of a Ten Hag?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'll ask you first as a United fan.
There, if I hire you for your hosting skills or interviewing skills, whatever you want to call it, I'm like, you know what, Terry's a good host on his channel.
Brilliant
he's a brilliant host. You know what? I have an event going on today. You know, I want to hire Terry because I like the job that he does. I speak to you, Terry. We agree on it. We shake hands. Deal done. You come in and you're not doing the job that I hired you for because I saw how good you are on your channel, but you're not replicating that. I'm like, Terry, what happened to that? And you're like, oh, no. I'm never going to do what I used to do on my channel here. I'm going to do something else. But why the hell did I hire you for then? Because I didn't see the something else. I hired you for what I saw you good at. This is the same thing this manager is doing. And listen, I understand there's different styles of football. Not every manager can replicate the style at his previous team to the new team exactly. Not even Pep really did, as you said, what he did with Barca with City. It's very, very similar, but not the exact same thing because of the difference of personnel. But the fundamentals are there. If you are telling me that you can't play Ajax football here, which is fine. I don't think, by the way, Ajax football is a thing. It's just possession-based football. Let's just call it for what it is. It's not rocket science. Ajax football is not rocket science. Many teams before Ajax and after Ajax have done that style of football. Okay? The thing is, if you're telling me you can't do that and you say it's never, but then you can't control games against Sheffield, against Brentford, against Burnley, against Galatasaray, against Copenhagen, against Wolves, against Forest. Did I miss anyone? I mean, these are just like the teams that we consider.
Against Sheffield? You said Sheffield, did you?
I started with Sheffield. Trust me, that I still remember that. Remember that. If you can't have a style of play against them, then I'm sorry. What did we hire you for? Because you need to keep balls. I don't care. Listen, I don't care if you play direct football, if you play possession-based football. I don't care if you're City, if you're Liverpool, if you're Arsenal. All of them play different styles. You know what's the one thing in common between all of them? They control games. They go against their opponent, and whatever their style is, they dominate them from minute 1 to minute 90, and they see out these games easily. And this is what big teams do. You have yet to show me anything. And I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt as much as I can. I'm listening to what he's saying, but I don't see it. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe when these players come back, he's going to do X, Y, Z. Maybe when he signs these players, he's going to do A, B, C. And the guy that comes out and tells me, oh, we're never going to play Ajax football. So what are we playing? Because I haven't seen anything. It's not like you replaced it with something better. I kept saying he's trying to play like Liverpool because when you keep speaking about a directness, and Tom, you're laughing, but you know it's true. When you talk about a team being dynamic and direct and transition and all that stuff, The only team you can think of really that was very successful at it is Liverpool. Because you guys have done that for about 5-6 years now, which is why you went toe-to-toe with City for most of the time. If you're going to try to play that style of football, I need a better application and I need better personnel. I can't expect you to say, I'm just going to use yesterday as an example. Everyone can see that yesterday we wanted to be a little bit more transitional because we can't keep the ball against City. But you're the same person who signed someone like Anthony who can't play under transition. So you had to put Bruno, who is a 10, who is shit at carrying the ball, and you put him on the wing. So we're on transition, and you put someone who doesn't have the pace, doesn't have the dribbling, and doesn't have the ball carrying ability, and you're putting him on a wing in a game that you're supposed to play transition. How am I meant? Like, how can I not look at you and be like, you know what? You have no idea what you're doing because you're saying one thing and you're applying it in a different way. Same thing as Mount. I didn't want Mount, and everyone told me don't be negative and wait on it. And I was like, you know what? I'll wait. The guy's been on the bench for 3 games, and then he plays it. He puts him on the bench yesterday. By the way, Don, we were speaking about it earlier. That video, it's so cringe when he told him, oh, he wants him to be an important player for us this season. And then he tapped him on the belly.
Slapped his belly.
Him on the belly.
Cheers,
and then
Gaffer.
you leave him on the bench. Cheers, Gaffer. Thank you for leaving me on the bench and playing McTominay ahead of me. Oh, by the way, you wanted to sell him on deadline day. And I'm supposed to look at this guy and not say this guy is confused. This guy's out of his depth. He's completely out of his depth. And today, honestly, I didn't think I could get any more angry. But then I wake up and I see that tweet first thing, and I'm like, bro, are you taking a piss right now? Should I like just sign off Twitter or something? Like, what the hell are you even saying, bro? Like, and yesterday he says after the game, we applied the plan perfectly, something like that. What plan was it? To give him the 3 points? If that's the plan, I'll applaud you because you did it very well. I'll tell you that. You actually gave him the game when you didn't need to because they already had the game. And he's like, you know, let me make it easier for them. Let me take out my number 6. Here we go. Transition football.
That was crazy, by the way. Is Amrabat injured or something?
No, he's fine. I want to ask a question. I want to throw this out to the panel because this is still where I wouldn't say confused. My mind about Ten Hag has changed. Why have I defended him since he's been at United? I expected him at some point to introduce his style of football. The fact he said he isn't, I don't want him. I as a Man United fan, wanted him for the brilliant football I saw his team play, which, by the way, has fallen off the edge of a cliff since he left. So I don't think he's a bad manager. I don't think he has bad talent idea. I stand by all those things. He is just not playing the style of football that the players that he has purchased are good at doing. Why do I know they're good at doing it? Because they've played under him or they've played in that style of football before. It's a mess. The question is why? Why does the panel think that he isn't trying to implement that style? Is it he's trying to do something clever? I don't know what that is. Or do you think this is a directive from the club? That's not how we play. We're Man United. It's got to be direct and pacey and on the wings. What do you think has led to this? Because it is, all banter aside, it's proper weird.
I think it is when he can't do it. I think the part where I disagree with it, the part where I disagree with him saying I would never do it. You've spent 2 summers signing players for that style. They do not really shine in any other system but a possession-based tiki-taka, whatever you want to call it, system. Lisandro Martinez, Amrabat was prided on his possession and how good he was on the ball.
Tom, he signed Eriksen because he said he used to play in Ajax and he gets the Ajax system. Yeah. And then a year later, he told me, I'm not trying to play Ajax system.
And that exactly. So
he contradicts
I think Erik ten Hag is chatting out his arse. I think he's tried to do it. He's looked at the players and went, "Don't work.
They can't do it.
Doesn't work for whatever reason. Maybe he doesn't feel like it translates well to the Premier League or whatever. But he just looked at it and went, "Don't work. Doesn't work." But I'm not going to go down with my shit.
Tom,
so
let me just stop you there. Tom, let me just stop you there though. And this isn't to contradict you or anything. This is just to ask a question. So, what are the games when you've seen him? Normally, when a manager tries something and it fouls, we see what he's attempting to do. I don't remember the games where he tried it and fouled. I don't.
I also agree with you.
The second question is, I get that on day one, but he signed 14 players. Mm-hmm. Surely, if you've signed 14 players, he would be able to get at least he'd be able to make us pass the ball better. Like I don't want to defend Ten Hag here, but I don't believe he's that dead of a coach that he can't make us pass the ball better.
But Terry, though, one of the main things, this is what I was saying to Samuel the other day, yeah. One of the basics of football, right, is you need to put out a balanced lineup. Do you know what I'm saying? This guy doesn't seem to ever put out a balanced lineup. Playing Bruno on the wing is just redundant. The guy doesn't work there, right? If you're going to play anyone on the wing, at least try Mason there, because he's played that role quite well for Chelsea at times. I didn't really like him there, but he could do a job there, better job than Bruno, right? You know, playing Bruno and Mount in the same team, it just doesn't work. You need to start only one of them, right? If you're going to play them in midfield. Even at the beginning of the season, when I'm seeing Mason Mount playing in the pivot, I was like, bro, how long has this guy been watching Mason for? Because Mason doesn't work in the pivot. He needs to be further up. Do you know what I'm saying? Playing Amrabat at left back, just not adding that balance to the team. It will never help the team develop and play how they need to be playing, Terry. So it goes down to the in-game management and the tactics. It's not helping the players. It's not helping the players because you're not balanced enough right now as a team.
I agree. This comment here says, I think you're taking his word wrongly. He means that he needs to adapt the system to the Premier League and he can't be the same as Ajax. I get that. But why is our passing so awful? That there are basic fundamentals within the way he coached Ajax. And by the way they play football at Bayern Munich, where he was a coach of the B team, but their football is identical from their under 8s right through to their first team. So it's, if you've coached there, you know what you're doing. The way we touch, our movement, speed of play, our shape, all of these things are basic footballing fundamentals that translate. And none of it is there. And that's why, for me, I believe him wholeheartedly with his comment. I don't think he's tried to implement it. Whether he's been told not to, or whether he has decided, you know what, I want to try and replicate what Fergie did. And by the way, Fergie played exponentially better football than we're seeing. It's a myth that he didn't. It's crazy. This is a weird comment, though. It says, Terry, you are turning against Ten Hag sooner because he's not British. When it was Ollie, you was deluded defending him till the end.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that famous British.
Yeah.
But Terry, like even
all those goals he scored for England.
Terry, even yesterday, I'm looking at your team, and I was looking at like in the second half, and it literally looks like the players don't understand what they need to be doing on the pitch. They don't look well drilled. It looks like they've got no instructions to follow. It just looks a mess. Like I'm looking at every single player on the pitch, and they just don't understand what they're doing. It looks like freestyle football. I call it grenade football. Do you know what I'm saying? It looks like freestyle football. And it all makes sense. After hearing what he said, it all makes sense because we haven't seen enough of an improvement. And I don't really want to defend the players. And I'm not going to name any players because people get really in their feelings. But I am not surprised they're not running. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that even out some of our best performers over the last 3 or 4 years have regressed. I am not surprised that Casemiro started to look worse. I am not surprised that everybody's gone backwards. Why would you want to play how we're playing? Imagine you are Bruno. I'm not giving him any passes here, but he's told you going on the right. He knows he's shocking on the right. There must be a part of him that thinks, why are you doing this to me again? And this is the bit that's annoying me and making me angry. I don't think we've bought a load of crock of crap. I think we've bought some really good players again. But there's a reason that this club falls apart. There is no one direction that everybody, in terms of the ownership, the board, the players, the coaches, the recruitment team, the new manager, whoever it is, we are never all pulling in the same direction. And the club is disjointed, and that manifests itself on this football pitch. And I will say this to everyone saying, why am I turning on Ten Hag? I would sack him today. However, Man United fans, don't delude yourself into thinking that sacking him and hiring a new manager will fix us. Because I did say this about Ten Hag. The only bit I've got wrong is I thought he'd make us play better football. We will never be totally fixed until the people running us are gone. And do you know why? Imagine letting Ten Hag do this. The point you made earlier, Staff, is right. If you hire someone because of what their CV states and what the body of work that's come before, and they join and they're just doing something completely different, you fire them, you sack them, you move them on. Our owners are just giving him more money to spend and go in the wrong direction. Or they're the reason we're playing this way. It's one of the two things. Either way, it falls back on them. And for me, I see zero. Our season's finished. Our season is done, and it is October. It's painful to see. I don't see how he turns it round. The players ain't playing for him. There's no system to work from. There's no foundation to move on from. And he does. I agree with what the United standards put out. He looks depleted. He looks beaten. He looks absolutely finished. And it's gutting because I really did believe in him as a coach with what I'd seen of him before. And the crazy bit is I bet he leaves Man United, goes somewhere else, and is really successful. And that's going to be the bit that hurts the most. The same as most players that leave us. He'll do the same thing. I don't think there's a bad coach in there. I just think there's something about our club. When people come here, they're
poisonous. It's poisonous.
Yeah,
I think he's lost.
Poor Højlund.
I think Ten Hag's lost, and now the players are lost because they're like, well, especially the new players are like, well, I came in and thought we were going to play like this, and now we're not. I think, and the reason I think he's lost is because I think it's very, very difficult to go from the way that United are playing and have played in recent years to the way that he played at Ajax. Like, that's an insane transition to go through. And I think that middle area, without kind of falling off a cliff, is quite difficult to do because you've got to bring in all of the right players. And he doesn't have those. And he's had to stick by players that I don't think fit that system at all, like Rashford. And I think I use Arteta not to like gas him, but just because I know it better. When Arteta came in, first season he had to be pragmatic and not play at all the way he wanted to play. And I think Ten Hag did that last season, and it worked very well. But he was always building towards the end goal. And I don't think Ten Hag has been doing that, or if he's trying to do that, I don't think it's working as well. And I think that's where now he's kind of like, he got third and a trophy last season. And now where does he go from there? Because if he wants to make that big transition to the way that he wants to play, I think the results are going to get worse before they get better. And I think he knows he probably won't get that time. And Arteta did get that time. Like when we came 8th, he was given that time. But Ten Hag won't be given that time. And I think that's the issue.